Okay. Hey, everybody. Today is Tuesday, March 27th. I can't even. It is already the end of the month. Um, okay. Today, we're going to be talking about. I feel like I've talked about this a million times, and I always forget that I need to do it. And I always get distracted by 100,000 things. So today, again, we're talking about simplifying and trying to really just narrow in on what the most vital either behaviors, plural, or even just one that we need to focus on to really make a difference in our own businesses. And so what brought this about? Well, there's a couple of things. What brought it about originally was I started listening to The One Thing, which is a book by Gary Keller. Um, I don't even remember where I heard about this book. I know. There's a podcast that I listen to, totally not Beachbody related whatsoever. It's actually by it's a guy he's a coach for real estate agents, but he's like puts out incredible content. I love him. His name is Brian Buffini. It's called The Brian Buffini Show if you're looking for a new podcast. So anyway, so he had mentioned this book a couple of times and I've written it down and all of a sudden it like popped up in my Amazon recommendations. So I was like, oh, well, I'm looking for a new book. So here we are and I'm listening to it and it's like really, really speaking to me because right now for me, like I'm feeling like there's so much going on and so many different things that I could be giving my time and attention and energy to. And I don't really know what the most important thing is. And my business is suffering because I'm not focusing enough on the main things or the main thing. Um, and then today, I don't know how many of you are in the Rank in the Bank group, but um, what's her name? Minton. First name? Nicole? No.
Nikki.
Nikki, you're right. Nikki Minton. Um, anyway, she was talking about, how you should be dividing up your time and doing time management. And she was saying, like, as newer coaches, which most of us are, like diamond and below, we need to be spending most of our time on building our own personal business and not as much time focusing on team building business. And I would actually go so far as to say, because I was actually on a diamond call last week, and Robbie Carter, who's the Southeast region coach support person, he was saying that Beachbody had done a kind of a meta-analysis of some of the behaviors that the really highly performing, top performing coaches do, like how they split out their time. And diamond coaches that are really successful, they are spending 90% of their time recruiting to their own business, and they are spending 10% of their time focusing on their own coaches and checking in with their teams. So that means if you're working your business an hour a day, you should really only be spending 6 minutes checking in with team pages, checking in with your coaches. And 90% of the time, which is going to be the other 54 minutes of your work hour, needs to be focusing on inviting, connecting, recruiting, recognition, and the things that are going to drive your business forward. They're going to get you new people to talk to, adding people to your network, things like that. So, not that what Nikki says is wrong, but I might suggest, and I found this for me, that the more time, of course, the more time we spend on something, the more we're going to get out of it. But when we are in this like team building our own teams, but building our own businesses and recruiting to our own businesses, trying to build up the foundation of our business, that's where we need to be focusing our time. So, how can we do that? What are the things that we can focus on to make sure that we are getting the most out of the time that we spend? Because like, I'm sure all of us have so much more than just Beachbody going on in our life. Like we're moms, we, have family, we have, work, we have whatever else that we have, maybe we don't have 8 hours a day right now to commit to working our business. And so how can we focus on what those specific items are that are really going to be critical? So for me, I've kind of come up with and it's a short list, and it has to very much to do with the vital behaviors. But for me, the general behavior that is going to be moving my business forward is connecting with people. And so I've kind of broken that out for myself into two things. And so one is, so like if you're in Melissa's ABC group, you know, interacting with new people that you bring into your network, adding new people to your network that you can interact with, starting conversations with them and getting to know them, and inviting. And so it's kind of four things, but they really all fall into one category of connecting. And so if I'm not spending the majority of my time connecting with people that I can then, you know, invite to a challenge group, invite to the coaching opportunity, provide value to, give something to them, I'm not doing my job. And so that's where, and I don't know yet because this is kind of all very new, like in the last like day or two that I've really started thinking a lot about this. But if I am spending, you know, 90% of my time building my own business, then I'm probably spending 75% of that time doing the connecting behaviors. And the rest is, you know, checking in on my own back office, you know, following up with people, you know, following up falls in there too, but making sure that I'm getting out there and making those initial connections and making those initial invitations. Because the more people that you start conversations with, the more people you have to then draw from when you go to your inviting and you go to your following up. So it's critical to think about your own business and think about what, you know, maybe what you have seen is something that really has given you the most bang for your own buck when you're talking about time management and when you're talking about your own business. Like, that's what it is for me. And if that's what it is for you too, that's great. Like, I'm glad that I could help. But if that isn't what it is, and, you know, and if there's something else for you that you know works, don't feel like what I am saying has to apply to you as well. Like, it definitely, it's a very, you know, we each have our own personal businesses, and the way that we run our businesses is very personal. And so it has to be something that you figure out for yourself, and, you know, try what other people suggest. But if those things don't work for you, spend some time and really think about what you can be doing, and what you have seen the best results with. And so it's really about just focusing in and trying to really get to the heart of what the key vital behaviors for your business are, in addition to, you know, making sure that you're doing the other vital behaviors and you're being a product of the product and you're recognizing people and you're, you know, connecting and inviting. So the second thing that I wanted to talk about, I was talking with Amy today. She should be on hopefully shortly. The last like week or two, maybe, I've really felt like I'm in kind of a rut. And not necessarily like a rut of just doing the same things over and over, but like just a mental blah. I'm not really sure entirely what is going on. But what I wanted to talk about was, like, when we get into these ruts, how can we continue to build our business without letting it slide, so that when we do get that fire back and we are super amped up, you know, 90% of the time instead of like 10% of the time, which is like what I feel like I'm like right now. How can we make sure that we're not letting our business slide, so that it's there? We still, you know, we can like, we don't have to do a lot of like running around and like damage control when we do get back in the right mental mindset to really kick it into gear again. Like, so it's kind of about how do we sustain while, and I feel like this is kind of a depressing topic, but I think it's something that we all encounter at various times. And it's really important to be able to, you know, it's kind of like the conversation we had last week. Like, it's one of those topics that maybe you don't really want to talk about when somebody, you know, says, you know, you're a horrible salesperson. Like, don't come at me with your snake oil. Like, none of us want to be in that situation. But if we have the tools to know that that may come, we're going to be so much better equipped to get through it. So this is kind of some of the things that I've been thinking through. There's a group that I'm a part of that's called One Coach, One Lesson, and it's put on by Elizabeth Hartkey and Keith Callahan, who are in our, well, Keith is in our upline. I'm not positive Elizabeth Hartkey is. Yeah, she might be. She must be. She might be Keith's coach, one of Keith's coaches. Anyway, they put together this group with some really, really incredible coaches who and anybody can join it. It's one of the, it's I don't think it's been archived, but it's not an active group. It was like a 2 or 3 week group where it's kind of like Rank in the Bank, where they went through and they did a bunch of posts and videos and just talking about, it's more of a mindset group. And I thought that was at the time, that was really valuable to me. I mean, it's always valuable, but it's a little bit different than kind of the technique and tools. Maybe it's just really kind of thinking about these different ways to approach things mentally, which was extremely helpful. So the first video was Keith and Elizabeth, or Liz, talking about talking about mindset, and something that they said that really stuck with me. Elizabeth was talking about kind of the same thing, like when you get in a rut, what do you do? And the thing that you have to do every single time is you have to do something constructive, and you have to take action on something, and you have to, whether it's just sitting down and opening up a Google document, a spreadsheet, and plugging in ideas for your next challenge group, or listing out or scheduling posts, or do something physical. Even if you just can't bring yourself to talk to somebody at that time, get yourself to your computer or to your notebook and start moving your fingers across the page or across the keyboard, writing something down, like write down your goals. You have to take action to get yourself out of the slump. Like, drink some Energize before you do it. Like, get your energy up a little bit and get something out on paper, something in a positive, constructive way. And that really has helped me a lot, because over this winter, I don't know what it is. Like, I have this little, like, you guys have probably seen it. It's my little like sunshine lamp here. Basically, like, in the winter, I've been like living in front of this thing, because I feel like this is seasonal, depressive, like, I don't know. It's been so hard this year. Anyway, so maybe I need to use this more. I don't know. But I've come across these times where I don't want to do anything. And especially like around the holidays for me, I just like totally slumped. And it was hard. And I was able to go back and think about, okay, like, what do I need to be doing? What can I be doing right now that's, going to keep me moving forward? Because anytime that we pause and we hit the brakes, even if we don't go backwards mentally, we are going backwards because we're not moving forwards. Like, even if we don't say, okay, like if we say, okay, I'll just take the weekend off, like, or the week or the month, like, you can't just pause and take time off, because everything that you do will start to unravel. You have to be doing something to even maintain in this business. And I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but that's the reality, because when you are essentially a public figure, and when you stop doing the things that people are expecting to see of you, the people who follow you on social media, they see that you're not doing those things, they start to discount you. And then you have to work to get their trust back, because they see that, you are not 100% committed at that time. So even if it's just, you make sure that you post, once or twice a day, make sure that you're like, yes, I'm still here. Yes, I'm drinking my Shakeology. Yes, I'm doing my workouts. Yes, I'm here. People, you want to maintain those relationships with people. You want to maintain the, how the consistency of the posting that you do on social media, the interaction with your customers and coaches, because people who've signed up with you, if they see you sliding back and like not drinking your shake every day and not doing your workout every day, like, you are the reason that they came into this opportunity, whether it's for their fitness and health or whether it's for the business. And when they see you not doing what you are telling them to do, they do not believe in the business. They may, start to lose their trust in you. So it's so critical. We have to keep doing something. And it could be super hard. Like, I get it. I get that it can be really challenging to even want to sometimes, like, open up your computer. Like, this weekend, like, I did not want to open my computer at all. I didn't want to turn on my phone. Like, half the morning one day, I just, like, I had my phone on do not disturb, because I just, like, I couldn't. And for whatever reason, shit happens. Like, it wasn't any one thing. It was just like, I just couldn't deal with it. But then I got back on, and it wasn't, it wasn't even a whole day. Like I got back, I did something. Like I sent out a couple invites, I followed up with my people, I did a couple posts. Like those are enough. Those types of activities are enough as long as you do something every single day. Yes, if you plan to take days off, that's great. Like if you plan to go on a vacation or you plan a family day or you plan a day, like, and you know that you are taking all day Friday off because you're taking like this Friday for me, we're going, like, we're taking a train ride, like it's this Easter Snoopy train ride thing. And we're taking my son and his grandparents are coming, and like, I'm out that day. Like I'll probably like do some Insta stories and like maybe put up a picture, but like, I'm not going to be talking to people. I'm not going to be, reaching out to people. I'm taking that as a family day and I'm planning ahead for that. And so I know that I'm going to need to prepare for that the day before or a couple days before, and I'm going to need to catch up over the weekend, and that's fine. And definitely take time if it's scheduled and planned and if you need to, but don't let your mind get in your own way, and don't let yourself like fall into an extended slump where you're not moving your business forward, because it will go backwards. And we are working so hard right now. All of us, we are working so hard. The last thing that we want is to like let ourselves get in our own way and slide backwards so far that we're just like, oh my gosh, like why did I do that? So that is that part of that. Yeah, it's a hard thing, but it's so, and it's hard, especially when you're not expecting it, and like you all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, like I haven't posted in like 2 days, I've like barely done my workouts, like I haven't talked to anybody, I haven't sent out any invites. And when it sneaks up on you, that's when it's really hard. That's when like you don't realize that it's happening, and all of a sudden you're like, crap, like what have I been doing? Nothing. So be be aware, and make sure that you're aware of what's going on in your own business every day. And you have, whether that means writing yourself out a schedule every day, or whether that means making sure that you check off your boxes every day, whatever it happens to be. Do the things, do the vital things. Like, again, like if we're talking about simplification and focusing on the one or two things, even if you only do those one or two things every day, or even if you even do one thing every day, as long as you do something. So those are kind of the key points that I wanted to touch on. Do you guys have anything to add or any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So it probably sounds a little weird, but I'm kind of like the opposite, whereas like I basically I really only do Beachbody. Like I know that probably sounds like a little weird, but I don't like this is what I do full time. And like if I don't have to leave the house for like to do my eyebrows or my nails, like I don't. And then like on the weekend, my boyfriend works a lot and stuff. So like we don't really do nothing. Like we just relax and watch movie or Netflix or whatever. So like how do I make myself like okay, fine, I have Crohn's, but I don't want to like just only post like quotes, 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 quotes. You know what I mean? Like post like Crohn's quotes, or like everyone. I got told my daily quotes, motivational quotes that I post, people like them. So those, like that, I definitely do. I definitely, either do my shake or workout or whatever. But then like I don't know like what else, because I mainly only do, Beachbody. Like if I do go out, like, to the aquarium or something like that, obviously I'll post that. But like on a daily basis, like I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a definitely a different challenge. But I think the something that you can do is you can definitely talk about the different aspects of like, so like you've got Crohn's, and that's a huge part of who you are.
Yeah, I have Crohn's, colitis, arthritis.
Yeah, you can be talking about all of those things. Maybe pepper in some Beachbody in some of the posts
But
and
then,
not
like, I don't
really.
want to, like, I feel like a lot of times too, I'll like babble on my posts. Like, I could just go on and on. Eventually, I'm gonna get a blog so I could be like, check out my blog, and then I could just babble there. But like for now, I feel like no one wants to read my, like, people do read my babbles, but I don't want to constantly be doing that either.
Right.
Christina, I have a question for you. What have you made out a list of what your like hobbies are? Like what do you enjoy and what makes you unique like to you other than the fact that you do Beachbody and you've got medical problems?
I have, but like there wasn't really that much like on there because like okay, like I put that I have my dog or like it's like it's not that I don't really like to do much, but it's just like I don't know. Like I put, like I said, my dog. I used to do cheerleading and dance. Um, I don't
What do
like
you do what do
I
you do throughout your day?
Truthfully, on a daily basis, I wake up, do my shake, work out, like, cause I don't work because I was a medical assistant and the places had given me problems, with the Crohn's and everything,
Yeah.
cause it's unpredictable and everything. So that's why I'm going to make this work to prove that I can still work, from home and everything. So like if I don't like I do babysit, but it's not always like every week, and maybe it'll be like one here, 2 days here, whatever. But other than that, like I don't really leave my house. Like I literally do my shake, work out, and then I'll like follow up and get everything going, or I'll do my meals because I don't meal prep because I just need to get over that and just do that. But that's another story. But I don't.
Maybe you can find something
I
that's like I don't know, like a an interest that you can be.
I started doing like the personal development I really been liking because I actually finished Girl Wash Your Face. Now I'm on to get your SHRT together, but I don't know. Like like I said, I'll try to, I'll post my dog sometimes or whatever, but he sleeps a lot of the day too, because he leaves me alone.
What about so like how were you in? Forgive me, I don't know like your whole story. Like, were you? Do you? What did you study in college? Like, did you go to college? Like, what's that story?
I went for like a semester and a half, and then took a medical leave, and then I did the certificate program for I hold on, let me just go back. I did the certificate program for medical assistant, and then from there I went to work, and that was like a year and a half, I want to say, and now I'm here.
Okay, so like maybe you can connect with people who I don't know. Like, do you still have a love of like the medical field?
I feel like I always will, just because of like my all my problems and everything.
Hmm.
But I feel like by doing Beachbody, that's also my way of helping the people, because I had a lot of times too. I had patients that would cry to me and be like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You understand," and all that stuff. So like that, I feel like that kind of ties with this in a
Yeah.
way.
Well, maybe you can find a way to like you can use that like that experience and your education and like do your own kind of like sharing, like you probably do a lot of this anyway with like your Crohn's and your different things about just like sharing information. But something that I am thinking about starting to do is like finding different blogs that I follow, and different podcasts, and then just like randomly like writing my own short like post about it and putting a photo and then being like, and I love this, I love this blog post about it, and then like I'll put the link in the comments. But just like sharing information and sharing, providing value to people that way. Do you
But
already do
then,
that?
yeah, but then like, what would you like what picture would you post, like yourself? Because it's not like, again, like you have, your son, so it's like I don't need, like.
You could post a photo like from the blog that you're talking about, if that's the case, or if there's a photo of you that, or something that you're doing, or even a picture from your past if it relates to that. um,
Sometimes you can just find a funny meme or something, because that's what I do when I'm stuck for a picture, because I don't like to make too many posts that don't have pictures, because people tend to scroll past
Exactly.
text only posts. So sometimes you could just find a funny picture or funny meme if you don't really have a like personal photo that you want to attach to it. Another thing is Alana and I both use Word Swag. Sometimes just taking a Word Swag, yeah, it's an app for your phone, and it costs like, I don't know, what was it, like $1.99 or $2.99?
yeah,
It's really cheap, but you can take your photos and then put text over the top of them, and you can like blur your photo out a little bit so that the text is more prominent. So then if your post is themed about I don't know, say you're having like a Crohn's flare up, you could literally take a picture of you with a face that's not necessarily like smiling, you know what I mean, but just kind of like there, and then put Crohn's and blur your face out more, so people can tell that it's your face, but really the message they're getting is this post is going to be about Crohn's. Or I do it like, you could do it with your cooking. You say that you're cooking your meals for the day. Take a picture of your pan on the stove or whatever, kind of give it a smidge blur, and then put like, I don't know, chicken and veggies recipe or whatever. You mentioned cooking. That could be something you could focus some of your posts on, is sharing recipes.
Because I was doing good with it, but then like, because my mom does obviously still cook too, and she's all healthy and everything too, so like I can eat with some but I need to start my meal prepping. I have my containers, but it's like, I feel like I almost like get scared, like what, like because I'm home, or what if I don't want to eat that? You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, I need to start putting my meals together, getting over it, like just do that. So I feel like that could go somewhere.
You can also do some like engagement posts where you just literally ask your friends list a question. You'll see it like Alana and I do that a lot. Like, hey, I really need to get a stain out of this shirt. What's your favorite like, DIY like stain remover mix? Or I'm really having trouble with these freaking whatever, insert food here. Like, how do you get around that? Or I'm having a hard time cooking. Alana is like the queen of poached eggs, and it makes me crazy. So I've posted a couple times that I'm like, what's your favorite way to cook an egg and how do you do it? Because I can't figure it out. So those are some good things too, to fill in the in-between. And they're like, give you the added bonus of the more people interact with you on those, the more engagement you'll have to your posts themselves. Your posts will be up higher on people's feed when you do it that way. One time I literally posted on there like the debate about what direction you put your toilet paper roll on the toilet, you know what I mean, on the thing. Oh my God, I had like 300 comments, and people were literally like going back and forth.
That could be entitled to the Crohn's. There we go.
There you go. I was sitting in my bathroom just thinking to myself, like, who are these crazy people that hang their toilet paper roll this way or whatever?
Now we're learning about toilet paper.
My dad literally gets mad at me when I ask questions like that on Facebook. He's like, is that a question you're asking for engagement, or do you really want to know are loofahs better than washcloths? I'm like, well, it's a little bit of both. But I think you could definitely, take some of that stuff and run with that. You can also share. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Christina, does that help?
Yeah, that helped a lot, because that way too I could start like doing more. But do you guys use Facebook more or Instagram? Because on Instagram, like I know I use more like the poll options and people like that stuff and everything. But then when I do the post, like, would you still ask, on your, like, for the toilet paper, you could do it for the poll, but say you're asking for the recipe, like, you would still ask that on your Instagram feed? Or
I don't do Instagram a lot.
I have, but not, yeah, on my feed, not on my stories, because I mean, you could on your
yeah,
stories if you wanted to,
because I know, like, for the toilet paper, like, you could put, the poll, like, up or down, for the toilet paper, but obviously for the recipe, what people have to type, you would have to see it, so that would probably be the feed.
yeah,
You could ask people to direct, if you want to do it in your stories, you could ask people to direct message you for your.
Because then you could get the conversation going. I'll have to play around a little bit.
Kids getting into things they're not supposed to be getting into. Don't mind me. Well, Christina, if you have any more questions for either of the two of us on that topic, you can private message either of us. We're usually around.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So we have, I don't know where my countdown went, but we're running low on time according to my Zoom. Any other thoughts, questions, comments about simplification, or I'm sorry, my dog. You want to come up? Come here. Or anything else that we talked about?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good for the most part. I just really need to like I need to get a calendar. And are you both in the Rank the Bank? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know how like Sarah made the video and she said like, to get the calendar and figure out what groups to do when. I need to get my calendar, and then I feel like my life will be together, so that way I could get bam, 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 bam.
Yep, organization is huge.
So I feel like I can't get going until I get my calendar, so I might run to CVS right now and get a little planner.
Awesome.
Anna and I have been working with this concept of having your groups be recurring during about the same time of the month. So that might be something that you can look into as well. If you're doing like free groups and paid groups, or clean week group and then your free/paid or whatever you're doing, it's usually good to set them up so you have like maybe your clean week group is the first week of every month, and then the next group starts a week or the next week or the week after, whatever.
Right.
Once you get that kind of going, it makes it a lot easier to stay on. You keep that organized and kind of stay on top of it, because you already know, like, at the beginning of every month, I'm going to be doing this type of group, and it just keeps it all more, lined up for you.
Right. Oh, and then really quick, because we have like less than 5 minutes. But when you have like a new paid group, and you have to do like the graphics, like, do you save the graphics and reuse them, or each time you completely change, like the themes and the different daily, you know what I mean? Like the different daily themes. Like, do you save that from the previous group, or you make a completely new graphic for the new group, even though it'll be the same people or people added to it?
It depends. Like, if it's a group that you won't have the same people in again, so like a clean week group where really they should only be in it once, we reuse them. But otherwise, I recycle content, but I change it up a little bit.
That makes sense. Okay, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I will save my like posts, like say it's a hydration post, I'll save that content so then I can refer back to it and not have to, like, especially when you've got things like percentages and research mentioned in there. It's nice to have that information and not have to keep looking that stuff up. But I do go in and switch it up a little bit, especially if it's a group that people can be in repeatedly. Because if they're like, oh, I totally heard that spiel last month, they're not going to stay engaged in your stuff. So it's good to kind of switch it up a little bit.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for jumping on. And yeah, if you have any, further questions or follow-up questions or anything like that, let me know. I will post this replay in all of the various locations, so hopefully everybody will have access to it. So anyway, have a great night and see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.